Good evening, everybody, or good morning, or whenever this video finds you. I started looking at a lot of articles and listening to little podcasts and little news cycles that I've been coming across on the subject that happened just recently of President Biden giving the Medal of Freedom to George Soros and Hillary Clinton. And I just can't believe it because I think it's almost laughable, it's hypocritical. It's literally, the more and more we move forward, it seems like we're living in a simulation because it just doesn't make sense, right? It's as if this country just keeps spitting in our face, and the people that do all the bad stuff are psychologically projecting on everybody else, you're a thief, but they're actually thieves themselves. They blame other people for terrorism when they're terrorists themselves. They're murderers and other words I don't want to say, because another thing that just happened to me the other day, I tried uploading a video for everyone and it literally got taken off before it even went up. I guess that's the thing when you can't talk about the jab. It's really terrible. I didn't even state an opinion of mine or anything. I was sharing data from an article and a podcast that I listened to, and I wanted to share that with you, and that got taken off. So, I mean, we're living in weird times, right? Even just to be able to discuss regular subjects. But anyways, back to this matter at hand. How in the heck can we be giving medals of freedom to people that have actually been involved in the past 4, in the past 10, in the past 15 years of involving themselves in our politics, our economic situations, causing detrimental harm across the United States and directly contributing to the loss of trust in our government? For example, George Soros, he just got the Medal of Freedom from President Biden. George Soros himself served in the Nazi regime. He speculated on the British pound, which caused crazy financial damage. When was that? Back in 1992, called Black Wednesday. He himself has funded political protests. I mean, this was going on in 2020, right? With the BLM riots and everything. He was funding that. He's been funding judges that are radically left-leaning to cause legal civil unrest and issues with us. So I don't understand how he's getting the Medal of Freedom. It's completely just ironic and hypocritical. And it really seems like our leaders are spitting in our face. Because remember, the only reason we're in these issues right now is because of our leaders. It's not because of you and me. Yeah, we contribute because we follow along or we fight it or we argue amongst ourselves. But the biggest thing, it's from the top down. It's the stories they're selling us, the ideas they're selling us. I mean, look, take Hillary Clinton, for example. She had the Benghazi attacks, which saw 3 Americans murdered and 1 ambassador to Libya. What was his name? Sorry about that. Christopher Stevens. He got murdered. He got murdered because Hillary Clinton wouldn't provide the security detail he needed. And they knew there were protests and issues going on there right now. That is, she knew, not he knew. But you understand what I'm trying to say. She had that whole issue and scandal with her private email servers that the FBI was requesting, and she just erased them. Imagine if me and you did that. We'd be in jail so quick, or if we owned any property or anything, they would just take it from us. I mean, it's brutal. It's brutal what they're doing to the average person. It's brutal how they're destroying our democracy, our republic. And somehow, while this is happening in front of our eyes, they're turning us against each other instead of looking at them and going, wow, this is definitely a problem and this needs to be addressed. Personally, I would really love seeing medals of freedom going to way more soldiers than all of these political elites or economic elites. I would love seeing medals of freedom going to men and women that have contributed to their local governments and communities and that have really given back, especially at the cost of themselves. Those are the type of people that represent freedom and definitely should receive a Medal of Freedom. Now, I believe it was President Lincoln that kind of alluded, and I know a lot of times it's misquoted and misrepresented, but regardless, it's one of our own presidents. He stated something along the lines of that the destruction of this country or the fall of this country will come from within. And from what we've been seeing, I think that's all but accurate of what's single-handedly causing a collapse in the United States. I really believe that 2012 is going to bring a really financial hard times for the average person, especially those that really have a lot of debt they're carrying. And I feel really sad that we have to go through this in a country that's been really built off the backs of the average person. It's been built off of the backs and the tax money off the people that contribute to the society, yet have no say. Yet people like George Soros or Hillary Clinton or President Biden that are lifetime politicians, elites, have single-handedly just took everything from our government, and all the bad they have done, just blamed it on us. Maybe it wasn't me today, but it'll be me tomorrow. And all the other damage, that was done by you, right? And it's a shame that it's being used and weaponized against us. This political system that was built by men that I have to say were way above my pay grade and way above my intelligence, because I can tell you, I can't think of sitting back and writing something so immensely important as the Constitution within my 20s or within my 30s. I would like to see at some point, regardless of how bad this country gets economically and socially, I would like us to all at some point kind of come back together, understand that we aren't the problem, and build upon this foundation that was given us. All we have been doing is learning and being socialized to believe that the founding fathers were racists and terrible people, and that our neighbors are terrible people, and that we have to turn on them at any instant and get some sort of social gratification for it. And I really hope we can walk away from that, because there's much more good in each and every one of us. And it just starts by introducing ourselves and announcing what our name is to one another. And it starts building a relationship, one where we won't be so vile to each other. And I get it. I get as angry as the next person, even driving or just walking on the street when people bump into me when they're looking at their phones. And I'm like, can't you just be more aware that there's other human beings around you? And I always have to take a step back and realize, we have to rebuild our foundation and our connection to one another and not let these people destroy us and this country. And I just want to say, I still and completely believe it's heartbreaking that people like George Soros and Hillary Clinton are the ones getting the Medal of Freedom. I'm not saying I deserve it. I'm not saying that I want it. I can't say I've done enough in this world or this country to deserve something like that. But there are plenty of people in my community where I volunteer that I could point a finger at and say they deserve it much, much more than these people that were given at this time.